Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be digging into this 2001 Dodge. This is my truck. If you've watched much on the channel, you'll see it. It's around in the background, it's pulling our camper, maybe moving the Jeep around something. I use the truck quite a bit and it doesn't look very good. She's getting pretty rusty, and so we're going to change out the fenders. I have a set of outer fenders for this. They're aftermarket ones, so we're going to see how they fit. I bought them used from two different people that had fenders that they never put on their truck. To start that project though, we got to get rid of this brush guard because we need to be able to get into some of there to get bolts out. So we're going to pull this brush guard off, see how far we can get on this project to getting it back to looking decent. Okay, it also made it a lot easier to take the front bumper off, and there's several reasons why. So we've got the bolts for the headlights, which there's 3 of them. And the bolts for the bumper though are these. These you don't have to have anything on the back side of. This one is for the bumper support. That goes here. And the other ones are right close to where I already took off for the push bar. This is the plate for that push bar. That'll be coming off as well. So those are all 18 millimeter. Okay, with the bumper off, it's time to get our inner fender out of the way. And so we're just going to see if we can pop these little clips. Okay, that's out of the way. So to take the battery tray, we have to remove those 2 nuts as well. Okay, we're also going to pull the battery and the battery tray, and these are 5/16. Put 2 bolts off from below. Get all these out of the way. And I sprayed them in advance, so they're coming out nice and easy. So there they are. These are all 13 mil. So the other thing we want to do is make sure we take all these little wire holders off. And our AC lines. Don't want to wreck them. We'll just get them loose so they can move around a little bit. Okay, we want to get the headlights out of the way as well. 10 mil on that. We're just going to unhook the bulbs. Get those out of the way. I don't have the special spanner that goes into that, so I just put my vice grips on very lightly. I'm sure it's going to have a couple of marks, but let's see. And once I got it turning just a little bit, then I can just finish it off by hand. And yeah, you can see there's a little mark and a little bit of a skid right there, but overall I think it's going to look alright because I'm going to paint the whole thing black. Before we take any of the bolts out of the fender, I'm going to go ahead and take my cut-off wheel and cut off a little bit of this fender so that I can get into the spot welds to drill the spot welds out. So, eyes and ears on this one. Okay, for all the little spot welds, I am using this. This was on Amazon. It's the premium spot weld cutter. It comes with a couple extra, I'll call them drills. What's neat about it is it's like a slugger because that is spring loaded in the middle. Let's see if you can see that. See how that's spring loaded? So make sure you put a little lube on that, a little bit of spray of some kind. But this thing, that cuts pretty good. Here we go. So what I found with this is if you start out just kind of slow, it sort of centers itself. Now you could stop part way, and sometimes they're broken free, or you can keep going and it pops it right out. So there was the little pop. Hopefully you can see it popped the whole little piece of metal right out. So sometimes you may want to do that, other times you may not, but it seems to be working pretty good. All right, let's see if it's loose. See it right there, that one's good. So hopefully you can see that. Kind of hear them every once in a while. There's one still holding a little bit. That one still has quite a bit holding, so we're going to get the drill back in there. So I'm going to go ahead and work these the rest of the way around, and I think then we'll take the bolts and pull this thing. And there are 4 little spot welds right down here that hold the outer fender to the inner fender. So you might have to take a few things off to get down in there, and maybe even cut some open so you can get your drill in there to drill those out. So right here is our last spot weld, but it's in a corner. You can see I already cut this out so I can get you guys in there to see it. But right there, that's going to be the tough one. I think I'm gonna have to go ahead and cut a little more of this fender out to get in there. Okay, so now we're just gonna get in here with our chisel. Yeah, that one's loose, no problem. And that's it, the front piece is out. Okay, hopefully you can see that I have taken this entire piece and cut it off so I could get the camera in there so you guys could see that. So now, we just got a few more bolts and this fender's ready to come off. Alright, it is off. So now is our chance to go back through here and clean up some of the little tabs. Then get yourself something on the back side and just kind of straighten some of these back out. Inevitably, from prying on them, they get a little bent up. All right, just a little bit of grinding, and then we'll get this primed. All right, so I've treated some of the rust, got the weldable primer on, and so it's time to stick the fender on. All right, so I have just the fender kind of sitting on there right now. Now's when you got to make the decision how you're going to do it. If you have access to a spot welder, maybe you can get one in there to do it, but doing it the way I'm doing it, that's not really an easy option. The other thing, a friend of mine, he took and just used self-tapping screws, went right into the seam to draw it together. That worked pretty good. Another person I saw use nuts and bolts, and they just tightened them up, squeeze the 2 fenders together. What I'm going to do is get it as close as I can together, and then once it's together enough, I'm going to just put a little bit of weld right on that seam. So that's how I'm going to do it. I will say these cheap fenders, they need some adjustment. So don't be afraid to do that. So don't tighten any of these down all the way until you get them all started. This is in just a little, so I'm going to just bring that out a little bit. There we go. Okay, so you can see down there on my seam, I'm nice and tight. From back here, it doesn't look too bad, but the gap on this fender is really big. The hood either needs to come down some more or the fender needs to go up. This is exactly what happened on my buddy's truck when we did his. It was very difficult to get that line correct. Okay, our seam is real nice and tight right back here, so we're gonna go ahead and start getting that tacked in. Okay, so overall I think the truck came out looking pretty good. I'm leaving the push bar off. I gave that back to Chuck Norris. He needed it for his truck. I'm putting a plow on it anyway, so it's got to stay off. The fenders. So overall, what do I think of the fenders? Well, they were cheap. They don't fit perfectly, but they don't fit too bad. Let's take a look. So overall, the fenders fit pretty good, but the gaps are very tough to get just right. As you can see there, it gets right down and just digs right in. I'm sure I can make some adjustments to the hood and a few more adjustments to finish it up. Now you might be wondering why I didn't paint it the same color. I just wanted to get a little paint on it. This is just some silver that I had in a rattle can, but I want to show you what my plan is for the whole truck. I have some rust along the rockers and on the bottoms of the doors. I'm hoping I can save the doors and clean up the rockers. I already have rocker panels and some cab corners, so anything I need to do there I can fix. I'll show you the other side. So you can see here on this side, the rocker panel definitely needs a little repair. The door's got a little bit of a dent, and again, there's a little bit of rust. And you can see that rust right there in the rocker panel. So I want to get all the rust repaired on the truck. The bed is pretty good. I put that on a couple years ago. Just has a little bit of rust. But this is what I'm planning to do to the whole truck. I'm going to get in on it. So there it is. That is hammer finish, or hammered. It's a Rust-Oleum product. It's in silver, and it's hard to see unless you're up close to it. But overall, it's got a pretty nice look. It covers a lot of imperfections along this bed rail. You can see a little scratch there. I didn't do a ton of prep on this. Just wanted to see how it was going to look overall. So that is the plan for the truck, is to paint the entire truck with that. So come on back, keep your eye out. I'll be doing a video on doing these doors, rocker panels, and cab corners. We'll get that done, and hopefully we can get the truck looking pretty respectable again. Let me know in the comments what you do, rust repair wise, paint finish, whatever. I always appreciate hearing different things that people are doing. Again, thanks for watching, and come again. Got access to some kind of spot welder.